Good evening. A Brampton home is the center of a police investigation tonight after a newborn baby was found dead inside.
A 23-year-old woman is now facing a criminal charge. CTV's Janice Golding has more from Brampton.
Michelle Nathan, police say the woman who was charged is actually the infant's mother, and the Special Victims Unit is now trying to determine exactly how the newborn died.
When I came out, I see the whole place full of police.
It was just after 8 p.m. last night.
There was like 5 police cop cars. I just thought what's happening.
What happened, chilling even for seasoned investigators.
This is a horrific scene to stumble upon as a first responder.
What emergency responders discovered when they arrived at a home near Kennedy and Williams Parkway in Brampton was the body of a newborn.
What I can confirm at this point is that the 23-year-old mother of the infant has been taken into custody and has since been charged with concealing the body of a child after birth.
Police say a resident of the home made the call saying they discovered the dead infant, but the mother was not home when police arrived, located instead at a local hospital.
What we think happened is that the female that's been arrested and charged sought medical attention where we located her and arrested her, and the child remained at the home.
Police say there are so many questions that remain unanswered. Where the child was born, when they were born, if they were born alive, or if the mother even knew she was pregnant.
We've seen, sadly, in cases like this before, that this is a surprise pregnancy. People didn't know. So all of these factors are going to be considered by investigators and ultimately by the courts.
Neighbors we spoke with say they don't know the woman in custody.
I've never seen anybody look pregnant, so I don't know who have a baby.
Telling reporters the home had too many residents to keep track of.
They're all renters, and it's one of those homes where you have like 10 people, like 20 people living in there. Yeah. I did see somebody sleeping inside of the garage.
Nonetheless, those who live in the area expressed grief for the deceased infant.
That's tragic.
It should not happen. I have 2 kids, so we raise them, so, we take care of them.
Sad. I feel sad. Yeah.
The investigation continues. The resident of the home that discovered the child's body was not related to the accused. Police say they are now trying to determine exactly who the newborn's father was. I'm Janice Golding. Now back to the desk.
Also tonight, police make an arrest after a man was shot dead in the hallway of a Rexdale apartment building. His family devastated by the loss as police call for the remaining suspects to surrender. It's being called the largest seizure of counterfeit sports jerseys in Canadian history.
Investigators say the jerseys were being sold to legitimate retailers as being authentic. And tonight, 2 men from the GTA are facing a number of charges. CTV's Sean Leathong has more.
They represent teams from across the world and here at home. This display by Toronto police is just a fraction of some 16,000 counterfeit jerseys and 2 World Cup trophies with an estimated value of more than $3.5 million in what police are calling
the largest seizure of counterfeit soccer jersey in Canadian history.
According to police, these jerseys are being sold to legitimate retailers as authentic.
So folks are walking into retail stores thinking that they're buying an authentic piece of, say, a jersey or sporting equipment. They're paying full price as they would if it was authentic, but they're getting a fake counterfeit.
Toronto police say the items came from Amana Trading Company in Mississauga, where international flags are on display outside, along with merchandise in their showroom. Police conducted a search on May 26th, and 2 men were arrested. We spoke to the owner of the warehouse here at 959 Kamado Road. He confirmed that police had attended their business and said that he was instructed by his lawyer not to speak any further. When asked if the 2 people arrested were his employees, he once again said he would rather not say.
Given the size of this seizure, we believe the 2 men were running the scam for some time.
According to Toronto police, they've been targeting crimes that tend to spike close to an event like the World Cup. Lauren Lipkiss from Lipkiss Law, who tipped off police in mid-May, say while retailers may have been unaware, the onus is on all parties involved to be aware of what they're buying and know what to look for.
Well, the first thing is, are there any spelling mistakes on any of the tags or labels? That is the first thing we look at, because very often there are not only grammatical mistakes in the wording, but there are spacing mistakes in the way the words are on the garment.
Remy Jabber of Milton and Walid Sarhan of Mississauga are facing multiple charges, including fraud over $5,000. They're scheduled to appear in court August 17th. Sean Leathong, CTV News.
And we have more news in a moment, but first a look at the forecast. Here's a live shot of the city. Great way to start the week and the month. Lots of sunshine, comfortable conditions, and this trend will continue for a few days. Lindsay Morrison has a look at the current conditions. Hey, Lindsay.
Yeah, Nathan, another day of sun and more to come. Wall-to-wall sunshine today, and current temperatures show that, yeah, we're starting off the month of June a little cool. It's 18 degrees right now at Pearson Airport. We did not make it out of the teens today, thanks in part to an eastern influence from the winds out of the southeast right now. Not particularly strong. We've got a couple of very scattered showers east of Georgian Bay and especially near the border of Quebec, but it's been a beautiful blue sky day once again here in the GTA. The evening looks great if you have any plans to head to the local soccer pitch or ball diamond. Overnight tonight, we dropped to a low near 10 degrees, which is a bit cool for this time of year as well. Elsewhere in Ontario, there is a frost advisory in place near the Bancroft area. We don't have to worry about that. In fact, temperatures are going to rise as we make our way through the next couple of days. We'll take you through the weather forecast coming up. But for now, Michelle, I'm going to send it over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. 13 people have been taken to hospital after two TTC buses collided in the West End. Our CTV News chopper was over the scene at Weston and Lawrence, where the buses crashed just before 3 p.m. Paramedics tell us 13 people were taken to hospital, all with non-life-threatening injuries. The youngest person injured is 16, and the rest are adults. The cause of this crash is under investigation. Toronto police remain on the scene of a fatal shooting in Etobicoke last night.
One man's been arrested, but investigators are still looking for more suspects. CTV's Mike Walker has the details.
A heavy police presence at this Rexdale apartment building where homicide investigators say a man was shot dead in the hallway on an upper floor. Neighbors are left reeling.
So this place has been very peaceful, but I was very surprised I heard about that. It's really scary because even my son was scared. This morning I was like asking him, can I escort you to school?
It was sad, especially like with my kids.
Police were called to the Toronto Community Housing Building near Queens Plate Drive and Rexdale Boulevard around 8 Sunday night. Responding officers found the victim with a single gunshot wound. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Homicide investigators haven't revealed a motive.
It does appear that this wasn't like a random event. There was a brief interaction and unfortunately led to the shooting.
Police have identified the victim as 28-year-old Anthony Taylor, who they say had a love for cooking and cared for his family.
Please know that Anthony was loved. He was a valued member of his family, and they are devastated by his loss.
One suspect, 30-year-old Ernest Jimfy of Toronto, was arrested and charged with second-degree murder. Investigators did not specify the relationship between Jimfy and Taylor. They say multiple suspects remain at large, but didn't reveal how many they are searching for and didn't provide any descriptions.
Please do the right thing, contact legal counsel, and surrender yourself to police.
The scene is extensive. Forensic investigators were seen in an area where there are garbage dumpsters. Police say they haven't located a weapon. This is Toronto's 12th homicide of the year. Investigators have been canvassing the area for witnesses and say they are still reviewing the building surveillance video to identify the outstanding suspects. Mike Walker, CTV News.
York Regional Police have arrested 2 people in connection with a double murder in Vaughan. 2 men identified as 49-year-old Pasquale Casiato and 34-year-old Christian Belcito were shot and killed outside a home on Kaiser Drive near Martin Grove in Langstaff around 5:30 in the afternoon on May 13th. 3 men were spotted leaving the scene in a blue SUV which had been reported stolen. It was later found on fire roughly 12 kilometers away near Huntington and Kirby Road. Last week, police executed search warrants at a home in Toronto and Windsor. 27-year-old Michelle Mosconi of Toronto is facing several charges, including 2 counts of first-degree murder. 55-year-old Glenn Mosso of Windsor is also facing charges, including accessory after the fact to murder. Meanwhile, police are still searching for 48-year-old Gerard Murray from Windsor. He's wanted on 2 counts of first-degree murder and arson causing property damage. He's known to frequent southwestern Ontario between Windsor and the GTA. Police are asking anyone with information on his whereabouts to come forward.
The search for a missing Hamilton man has now become a homicide investigation.
Martin Sador was first reported missing April 27th, but on Friday, his body was pulled from the waters of Hamilton Harbor. CTV's Raheem Ladani has the latest.
We're here at the Hamilton Harbor, and it's in these waters where the body of 48-year-old Marcin Sidor was discovered last Friday morning. About 5 kilometers down is Pier 16. It's located within private property near Stelco Steel Plant, and it was an employee who found Sidor's body. Marcin Sidor was last seen on May 21st. He was first reported missing on May 27th. 2 days later, he was found dead.
At approximately 8 a.m., Hamilton police responded after receiving a report that a body had been located along the shoreline. Officers attended and secured the area. With the assistance of the Hamilton Police Marine Unit, the body was recovered.
Police are not sharing if they believe Sidor was killed in the area or if his body was moved there. Sidor was known to police and was last seen driving a black 2014 Volkswagen Jetta wagon. It belonged to a family member and has still not been found.
Has tinted windows and has the Ontario license plate DFBY071. Marcin was known to be driving this vehicle when he was reported missing.
Police are asking anyone with information about Sidor's death or the car to contact them. Raheem Ladani, CTV News, Hamilton.
Meanwhile, underwater recovery efforts for a man who went missing after an inflatable boat overturned at Cherry Beach last week. Divers are searching the water for a man who disappeared when the boat capsized Wednesday. Another man in his 40s was rescued along with a dog after the incident. Police say that man suffered serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Still ahead, the Prime Minister in Toronto this evening announcing efforts to fight anti-Semitism in Canada as Toronto police arrest and charge 5 more people for allegedly promoting hatred.
Peel police have arrested a suspect in connection with a fatal stabbing in Mississauga. 28-year-old Jerome Edwards is charged with first-degree murder in connection with the death of 32-year-old Che Wilson. Police say the suspect and victim were involved in a physical altercation in a parking lot near here, Ontario and Agnes Street around 12 in the afternoon on Tuesday, May 19th. The incident ended with Wilson being fatally stabbed. On May 29th, Edwards was arrested near the Queensway and Kipling in Etobicoke.
Brampton Mayor Patrick Brown says 50 new cameras have been installed at intersections across his city. The 360-degree cameras can read license plates and quickly be accessed by police. Brown says Brampton is the first municipality in Canada to install the program at such a large scale. The program was paid for partly with property taxes.
I'm proud to announce the City of Brampton has now completed the installation of 360-degree cameras and automated license plate recognition technology at 50 intersections across the city. This is the top technology. It means if someone goes through one of these intersections, we're going to have their visual identification, their license plate. If they're part of a crime, we will be able to investigate them and hold them accountable.
Technology today is so important. It requires not just the implementation to be right, but also a note to ensure that the community's privacy is respected as well. And that we target the right people, those who commit crimes, those who drive erratically, those who put our communities at risk. And therefore, you know, as I always say, is high tech in policing has to equal high touch. We implement technology so that we have a greater relationship through transparency, respect with our community members.
Brown says the city has seen fewer shootings on the 410 since cameras were installed.
5 people have been charged in connection with a demonstration near Bathurst and Shepherd on March 15th.
We will continue to be relentless in following the evidence to hold those who commit criminal acts of hate accountable. No matter how long it takes, we will root it out. Today is an example of what we mean when we say that arrests and charges can come at any time after an incident.
5 people ranging in age from 19 to 48 years old are facing several charges, including willful promotion of hatred and public incitement of hatred.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister is in Toronto tonight speaking at Holy Blossom Temple, where he is sharing more details on how the government is looking to combat anti-Semitism and hate in this country.
I'm pleased to announce today the launch and the membership of Canada's new Ministerial Advisory Council on Rights, Equality and Inclusion. It will be chaired by the Minister of Canadian identity, and culture, Mark Miller. The Council has a clear mission to combat racism and hate in all their forms, and to guide the Government of Canada as part of our efforts to build a fairer, more just, more inclusive society. I'm honored to announce that Senator Mark Gould, one of Canada's most collaborative, effective, principled voices on the scourge of anti-Semitism, has agreed to join that council.
Mark Carney says one of the first responsibilities of this new council will be to look at what drives anti-Semitism and how to combat it. It will also look at whether investments to fight hate are working.
A motorcyclist is fighting for his life after a crash this afternoon. It happened near Winston Churchill in Eglinton just before 3:30 this afternoon. Police tell us a vehicle and motorcycle were involved in the crash, and the motorcycle rider was rushed to hospital with life-threatening injuries. His age has not been released. No other injuries have been reported. The intersection remains closed this hour as the investigation continues.
Meantime, Toronto police have launched a two-wheel traffic safety campaign focused on protecting motorcyclists and cyclists. Starting today and lasting through Sunday, police will be focused on speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, and impaired driving. Between January 1st and May 26th, 15 motorcyclists and cyclists were killed on Toronto roads.
A local lawyer is claiming excessive force by Toronto police after a video surfaced online appearing to show a cyclist being pinned to the ground downtown. The footage shared by David Shellnut shows an officer sprint across a bike lane after a cyclist apparently went through a stop sign on Queen's Quay near Little Norway Park. Once the camera turns, several officers can be seen trying to subdue the cyclist on a sidewalk who at one point screams out in pain. Toronto police say a man in his 20s was given 3 tickets related to the Highway Traffic Act, including failing to stop and disobeying a stop sign. Shellnut calls it heavy-handed enforcement.
You just don't see arrests for Highway Traffic Act infractions resulting in someone being tackled to the ground and jumped on by a bunch of officers. Certainly, if you did something wrong in your motor vehicle, they're not allowed to use a pit maneuver against you because of obvious reasons. And this sort of screams out as being super questionable.
In a statement, Toronto police say officers observed a male cyclist traveling eastbound on Queens Quay West fail to stop for the clearly marked stop sign. Officers directed the cyclist to stop. The cyclist proceeded through the intersection at a high rate of speed and shouted a profanity at officers as he passed. A second officer again directed the cyclist to stop. However, the cyclist refused and attempted to flee from police.
The health of our economy is a subject of hot debate among politicians. The federal Conservatives say Mark Carney has plunged Canada into a, quote, liberal recession.
New data Friday confirming we are in what's called a technical recession, but some economists are downplaying the significance of 2 consecutive quarters of falling GDP. CTV's Abigail Beeman reports.
My work is done. Mark Carney tries his hand at a home building site, but wasn't taking questions about a recession. After Statistics Canada reported Friday, Canada's economy contracted slightly for 2 straight quarters. Not from journalists nor opposition in the House of Commons.
While Canadians are starving, losing their jobs and missing mortgage payments, and Mark Carney has created the only G7 economy in a recession, he is hiding from accountability.
Leaving other ministers to answer.
Canada is the most integrated country in the world with the United States. They have declared a trade war on us. This side of the House understands that. We will control what we can control.
The Leader of the Opposition should stop running down Canada and join us.
It's the Liberal Prime Minister that's running down our economy and then running away from accountability for it. Where is he anyway?
Conservatives are calling for an emergency debate on the recession, as Liberals don't seem to all be on the same page in terms of messaging.
I do know that people in my riding are hurting. So I listen to people talk about housing prices. I listen to people talking about food prices and about incomes that are too low. And so that's what we're working on here.
Not. I'm not. That all indications are that it's shallow and that we're coming out of it. I believe them.
Late this afternoon in the House, the Speaker decided against an emergency debate, saying he doesn't believe it meets the requirements. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
A national organization representing food banks says more Canadians are falling through the cracks of a system that hasn't kept up with the times.
The group is calling for big changes to employment insurance programs, one of the recommendations in its annual poverty report card. CTV's Garrett Berry has the details.
Stocking these shelves and keeping them full has suddenly become a difficult task for Leslie Burgess and her staff at this downtown St. John's food bank.
We're running out of supplies before the end of the week, whereas, we used to be able to plan, and there's really no way to plan anymore.
Things were pretty stable last year, but now demand has jumped 20% compared to last spring.
It seems like we're every day in an emergency situation.
And at this food bank, like so many others across the country, when demand goes up, donations go down.
Working families are feeling the pinch, donating less and now needing more.
Because their rent is too high and groceries are too expensive and now gas is too expensive.
Not just here, but across the country. That's part of the reason why Food Banks Canada is renewing its call for big changes to the employment insurance program.
We're seeing more people with part-time, casual, or precarious jobs who are struggling to make ends meet, access our services, and they're not covered by the current system.
Gig workers like Uber Eats drivers are falling through the cracks. That's according to Richard Matern, research director at Food Banks Canada, who says payments should be raised and it should be easier for gig and part-time workers to qualify.
We are seeing many people with full-time work as well who are contending with the rising costs of living because their wages aren't rising fast enough.
More benefits for workers would surely help here in St. John's. Leslie Burgess says many of her clients are right now holding on until the first part of the new grocery and essentials benefit comes through on Friday. Garrett Berry, CTV News, St. John's.
In the Middle East, Lebanon has announced a partial ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah. It would amount to a limited de-escalation of the conflict that has killed thousands of people. U.S. President Trump first announced the agreement, saying, "I had a very productive call with Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu of Israel, and there will be no troops going to Beirut, and any troops that are on their way have already been turned back." Likewise, through highly placed representatives, I had a very good call with Hezbollah, and they agree that all shooting will stop, that Israel will not attack them, and they will not attack Israel. But after that announcement, Israel said it would continue military operations in southern Lebanon, where ground forces are making their deepest incursion in 25 years. Hezbollah says it would support a full ceasefire across all Lebanon as a precursor to the withdrawal of Israeli troops. Hostilities in southern Lebanon continue this evening. Lebanon says it will seek to expand the ceasefire in talks with Israel in Washington Wednesday. Iran has insisted on a halt to Israeli attacks in Lebanon as a condition of any deal to end its war with the U.S. and Israel. That was the reason cited today when Iranian state media said Tehran is halting indirect negotiations with the Americans and might end a ceasefire that has largely held since early April. Trump told a reporter that he had not heard from Iran, but he suggested a break in the talks might be a good thing. Iran and the United States have exchanged strikes several times over the past week, despite the ceasefire.
Hawaii's Kilauea volcano is at it again. Lava could be seen bubbling up last night. The National Weather Service has said an episodic fountaining eruption was expected within the summit, either Sunday or today. Fountaining episodes typically last less than 12 hours, but ash can remain in the air longer, depending on the wind and the weather. The volcano on Hawaii's Big Island has been erupting on and off since late 2024.
Coming up, nicotine use on the rise. The drop in smoking is being offset by new trends. What the latest data reveals and the calls to do something about it.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, if you like to stay at resorts, you may be pitched a timeshare package. They can allow you to stay there for a week or two each year. But before you sign up with one, make sure you know exactly what you're getting into. I'll have one family story. That's just ahead.
Well, June 1st marks the start of meteorological summer. Of course, the summer solstice happens on June 21st, early in the morning this year. The first day of this month also marks the beginning of the Atlantic hurricane season. Here's a look at some of the names that we could see given to storms in the coming months. And as we take a look a little closer to home here for June, it's worth pointing out that our average daytime temperature at the beginning of the month is 22 degrees, but on average will be about 26 degrees by the end of June. And we've got some warm temperatures to talk about this week. Stay with us. Your 7-day forecast is coming up.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
It's estimated about 500,000 Canadians own timeshares, although the majority of properties are outside the country.
You can also purchase timeshares in Canada, and if you do, it's best to study contracts carefully before making a commitment. Here's Pat Foran and Consumer Alert. Pat.
Thanks, Nathan and Michelle. A Toronto family saw an ad on social media to have a stay at a timeshare for a discounted price. They had to sit through a sales presentation and agreed to buy into the timeshare, but later they regretted their decision.
I just want to get out of it.
Gerlin Galligan of Toronto saw an ad on Facebook to have a 3-day, 2-night stay at a resort in Collingwood. It was a promotional offer with a discounted price, and she had to agree to sit through a sales presentation.
They offered us timeshare.
Galligan signed a contract to pay almost $22,000 for a vacation package and agreed to pay $205 per month for 2 years. After that, the payments will increase to $309 at almost 17% interest for 96 months. She says she was unaware there were also annual fees.
Like, if I should have known that I will be paying $1,200 to $1,600 yearly, even if you're not using the resort, I would never sign that.
She signed the contract in October and decided in November she wanted to cancel it, but by then it was too late as the 10-day cooling-off period had passed.
There's no way out. It's very unfair for consumers that it's only 10 days.
Galligan signed the contract with Vitality Vacations of Collingwood. A spokesperson told CTV News Vitality Vacations operates in full compliance with Ontario consumer protection laws. Ms. Galligan contacted our team to cancel. At that point, her loan had already been processed and funded. CTV News reached out to the Canadian Resort and Travel Association, which tries to educate consumers on timeshares.
You are obligated under a contract. There's a loan that's involved. There's a financing that's involved in this, and there's an obligation to stay for the term.
Getting out of a timeshare contract is difficult, and companies that claim they can cancel timeshare contracts for a fee may not be able to.
That is absolutely not real. Some people take advantage of poor consumers that are just trying to find an exit.
Galligan says she regrets signing the contract.
I want to share my story for other people to be very careful into getting into timeshares.
And you should always be careful signing contracts. While there is a 10-day cooling-off period for timeshares, gym memberships, and door-to-door sales, there is no cooling-off period when buying a home or a car. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
Well, you could call this a little cooling off period. It's not that warm, but it is steadily going to be getting warmer throughout the week.
Yeah, especially at night. I'm thinking if you're at your son or daughter's baseball game or soccer game, it does cool down at night. You got to be aware of that.
Yeah, and the sun is setting later and later, almost at 9 p.m. these days. But once it does set, you need a light sweater or a light jacket most of the time. Just before we get to our forecast, I do want to show you Nathan Phillips Square, where moments ago, the pride flag was raised. We talked about how today, June 1st, marks the beginning of the Atlantic hurricane season and the beginning of meteorological summer, but it is also Pride Month, and this flag is going to be flying all month long, and so it is a great month, June. So much happening, so much to celebrate, and Generally speaking, the weather is often pretty good. In fact, this is when we start to see summertime heat begin to build. The last couple of years, in fact, I believe we've had our first heat wave of the seasons in the month of June. Today, not so much. We were on the cool side of seasonal. In fact, many communities did not make it out of the teens today. We're at 19 degrees at Toronto Pearson, but you'll notice once again, it's 29 degrees in Red Lake. It's been very hot in parts of the prairies, northwestern Ontario. We've had this omega blocking pattern, but the pattern is going to start to change, and with it, we're going to tap into a little more heat through the middle of this week. In fact, every day it's going to gradually get a little bit warmer before things cool down again by the end of the weekend, which we will get to and talk about momentarily. Tonight, below seasonal for us here locally. 10 degrees is the expected low. Check out Bancroft. 2 degrees is the overnight forecast low for tonight. And once again, there is a frost advisory in place for communities just north of there. No frost to worry about here in Toronto. And then tomorrow, we climb to an expected daytime high of 24, 25 degrees, depending on which part of the GTA you're joining us from. Northwesterly winds will be a little breezy. Even with that northwest wind, though, we drive up the temperature. And we start off with sunshine. By the afternoon, it's a sun-cloud mix, but once again, dry pretty well everywhere. Another nice day for getting outside. You don't have to worry about the weather spoiling your plans. Heading into Wednesday and Thursday especially, it's going to become even warmer. So depending on how you feel about heat, that may spoil your plans. You may be looking for some AC. Now, we do have a couple of very scattered showers happening to the east of Georgian Bay and especially near the border of Quebec. Some showers around the city of Ottawa once again and just creeping into the Lake Simcoe area. We should remain dry tonight here in the GTA and really over the next couple of days. This high pressure is locked in place, but as it sinks further south, we eventually see a change to more southerly and southwesterly winds. And again, that's going to contribute to our midweek warm-up. It is quiet, it is dry for the next few days. And if you're starting to wonder, when are we going to get some rain? Maybe my lawn could use it or my garden. It is coming. In fact, our next chance of a shower is going to be on Friday. Better chance as we head into the weekend. Saturday looks a little unsettled at this point. I know the timing of that may not be great, but ahead of that, 27 degrees on Wednesday, 29, 30 in some cases on Thursday. We're going to cool back down again as we make our way into Sunday and more certainly into the day on Monday. That's your look at the weather for now. Nathan, going to send it over to you.
All right. Thank you, Lindsay. Also tonight, a South Korean defense company promises to use steel made in Ontario to build military vehicles if it gets a contract to build Canadian submarines. The potential economic impact just ahead. Back in 2018, Health Canada set a target that fewer than 5% of Canadians would be using tobacco by 2035, and progress was being made.
But as CTV's Pauline Chan tells us, new products mean nicotine use is on the rise again.
Imperial Tobacco launched the first nicotine pouch in Canada in 2023. They used lifestyle advertising with happy young people in a social setting or in association with athletics, just like cigarette lifestyle advertising of the past.
So now, while tobacco use is declining, the Canadian Cancer Society says nicotine use is once again on the rise, especially in young people.
The overall trends in nicotine use are very discouraging. Among high school students in grade 12, Canada-wide, 27% are vaping. That is stunningly high.
They're asking health officials to set an additional target of under 5% nicotine use by 2045.
Part of the concern is that vaping products and nicotine pouches have become gateways to nicotine addiction. And once you're addicted, you might be addicted for life. You might be switching later to smoking or other tobacco products or to vaping.
Vaping is particularly high among teens and young adults. For nicotine pouches, it's people in their 20s.
As of 2022, we have 730,000 Canadians who vape who have never smoked. That's undoubtedly higher today.
The message is aimed at federal and provincial health authorities.
Across the country, we should have minimum age 21 for tobacco and e-cigarettes, as PEI has done. There should be a ban on promotional incentives and price promotions, as Nunavut has done. Smoke-free outdoor places in all provinces. A ban on online sales, higher tobacco taxes, fewer retail locations, and a national ban on flavors in e-cigarettes.
The Canadian Cancer Society says tobacco kills about 46,000 Canadians a year and is a leading preventable cause of cancer, stroke, heart disease, and more. Pauline Chan, CTV News, Toronto.
Well, they are celebrating 25 years of the Being Seen exhibition at Workman Arts.
CTV Jessica Smith introduces us to the organization's new mixed media display.
Workman Arts, a local multidisciplinary art organization in downtown Toronto, is celebrating a quarter century of showcasing art in the city.
The show includes a wide variety of artists and media, and it's mainly to celebrate artists who are struggling with lived experience of mental health and addiction.
Titled Being Seen, the work in the exhibition ranges from video to sculptures, paintings, quilted pieces, and more.
One thing that's really present in this exhibition is that every subject is treated with a tremendous amount of care. You can see the work that the artists put into it. They're kind of in love with their subjects, and that's really beautiful to be around.
With creations by artists just beginning their careers, alongside works that belong to those more established, presented together.
And making sure that their vision for their work and for their artistic practice in general is well presented and well received by the audience.
And looking ahead to the next 25 years and what it holds for Workman Arts.
So my hope is that we will continue to be present, we'll continue to be a site where people can develop their skills, can create new opportunities for themselves, and they can share some really deep wisdom that they've earned in a really beautiful way.
To make the show accessible to all, the exhibition is completely free to attend.
Being Seen features 28 different artists from across the GTA and will be here at Workman Arts until June 14th. Jessica Smith, CTV News.
After the break, holding court once again, 23-time Grand Slam winner Serena Williams announces her return to professional tennis. Details on the tennis legend's comeback coming up. On the markets, the Canadian dollar is up to 72.26. West Texas Intermediate oil is up close to $5 to 92.16 a barrel. And the TSX lost 34 points today.
An overwhelming majority of 55,000 Canadian postal workers have voted in favor of a tentative contract agreement. The union says more than 4 in 5 cast ballots in support of the 5-year deal that includes wage increases in the first 2 years. Canada Post says it is pleased with the outcome and the deal offers stability and a path to restore confidence in the postal system. The parties are expected to sign the agreement soon after more than 2 years of labor disputes. The federal government is expected to make its decision on a multi-billion-dollar submarine bid between South Korea and Germany by the end of this month, and the competition is ramping up.
South Korea's Hanwha is now promising to use Canadian steel, but only if it's selected. CTV senior correspondent Judy Trin has the details.
A united front to announce a new partner in a plan to strengthen the auto sector.
How Canada's auto sector can pivot.
The diversification plan now includes using Ontario steel to manufacture Hanwha's Howitzer K9 and other vehicles in Canada. The South Korean defense company has thousands of orders from 6 NATO countries for these armored vehicles. Making them in Canada could be an important lifeline for the hard-hit industry.
The economic activity that comes from that deal for automotive is the equivalent of 1 new car plant here. And so what that means is probably 15,000 direct jobs.
The steel in the vehicles will come from Sault Ste. Marie's Algoma Steel, where about 1,000 people have been laid off.
We are the only steel producer in Canada that can make ballistic-grade steel for defense applications. It's a great opportunity to be part of a consortium.
But it's all contingent on Hanwha winning the massive bid to build Canada's fleet of 12 new diesel-electric submarines. Last month, the South Koreans sailed the KSS-3 to Victoria to show it off. The submarine, built by German competitor TKMS, is still under construction. But Germany is trying to make waves in other ways.
The program creates and sustains more than 650,000 jobs over the next years. The impact on the GDP will amount to 86 billion Canadian dollars.
As the economic promises increase, the government is hesitating but not ruling out splitting the procurement.
I don't know if you can categorize, Judy, the safe decision being splitting this down the middle. I think what we're looking at here is making sure that we have a fleet that is interoperable.
Both the South Koreans and the Germans are offering significant industrial benefits. The Prime Minister says he'll make his decision before the end of June, just before the July 1st deadline for reviewing the Canada-US-Mexico Free Trade Agreement. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Cricket Canada's membership in the International Cricket Council has been suspended. The ICC said today the immediate suspension is due to serious breaches of Canada's membership obligations. The sport's governing body did not provide details, but Cricket Canada will have limited access to financial resources from funding controlled by the ICC. The suspension follows an investigation into allegations of corruption. Cricket Canada will be given a set of reinstatement conditions. In the meantime, Canadian teams are still eligible to compete in sanctioned events.
The countdown to the World Cup is now in its final days, and tonight in Edmonton, Canada's national team plays a friendly.
Canada will attempt to avoid injuries and try to determine which goalkeeper will start for the World Cup opener here in Toronto on June 12th. CTV's Kathy Lee reports.
I spoke to a super fan earlier today who says despite the rain, tens of thousands of soccer fans in their ponchos will pack Commonwealth Stadium tonight. Larry Zima will be among the more than 46,000 ticket holders cheering for Canada. He says this isn't the first time fans have had to deal with poor weather at a World Cup related game here. The last time the stadium hosted a national men's team game was the November 2021 World Cup qualifier when Canada defeated Mexico 2-1 in very snowy conditions, earning Commonwealth Stadium the nickname Azteca. The capacity for the stadium is 54,000, and Zima says the rain may deter a sold-out crowd, but believes the energy will be there. As for the World Cup being hosted for the very first time in Canada, here's what he said.
It's pride. You know, it's nice. It's knowing that the largest sport in the world is being held in the country we love, and it's important for Canadians to understand that.
Explore Edmonton says tonight's game is a huge deal for the city, saying more than $20 million is expected to be injected into the local economy just from one match. Fans are not just from within the province, but across Canada and North America. The match kicks off at 7 p.m. local. Canada will play one more friendly game on June 5th in Montreal against Ireland before opening its World Cup campaign on home soil just a few days later. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Edmonton.
One of the best to ever grace a tennis court is dusting off her racket after nearly 4 years away from the game.
I gotta change my number.
Nike tease Serena Williams returned to tennis with that special ad. The 23-time Grand Slam champion accepted a wild card invitation to play doubles at the Queen's Club Grass Court tournament. It starts next Monday. Her partner is yet to be announced. The 44-year-old is part owner of the Toronto Tempo.
Just ahead, furry Toronto tourists, a pair of goats to visit the CN Tower. No kidding. Highlights from their big trip to Toronto's iconic landmark and why they're here for more than just the view. Finally tonight, they're not your typical tourists, but this pair of Angora goats got to experience one of Toronto's top attractions today.
All kidding aside, it was all to help promote another upcoming event in this city. CTV's Beth McDonnell explains.
Sugar and Spice are getting a feel for the big city. The Angora goats made the trip from their farm in Bowmanville to experience Toronto atop the CN Tower.
They have to do all of the must-see things, including CN Tower, so they've just arrived and we're going to head on up and take in the sights.
Their special treatment, all thanks to their special status. They're taking part in a promotion as the 2026 Royal Ambassadors for the Royal Agricultural Winter Fair. the first Angora goats ever to be chosen for the role.
It's an honor. It's great. It's awesome. I was so excited when they selected them.
Sugar and Spice are twins and turn 2 years old next month. Here they go through security, waiting for the elevator and arriving at the observation deck. Held on leash by their owner, Becky Vissers, they check out the view, of course, and even the glass ceiling.
Sugar is more bold. She's more outgoing. Spice is a little more reserved. She's a little quieter, which doesn't really go with their names, but we named them when they were 2 days old. They're very curious. I think, honestly, I think they're actually enjoying all the attention.
Sugar and Spice grow large, bushy coats. The breed is known for its soft mohair, which Vissers loves to crochet.
You just have to touch them when you see them. They are so adorable. They are very comfortable in the spotlight.
Just like many of us, they're excited for soccer and the World Cup. Although their big moment comes over 10 days in November at Exhibition Place. That's when Sugar and Spice will be going around the Royal Agricultural Winter Fair. Beth McDonnell, CTV News.
Ooh, Sugar and Spice. Adorable.
It does sound pretty good, doesn't it?
They weren't fazed by the glass floor.
No.
I would have been like, ugh.
Sugar and Spice, and the forecast is pretty nice too, if I do say so myself, over the next couple of days here. This is what you're waking up to. A little cool to start off the day, but lots of sunshine once again. Bit of an increase in cloud as we make our way into the afternoon, though. 25 degrees, the forecast high. I think most agree that's not too hot. It's also not too cool. Perhaps just right for this time of year. Lawn and garden forecast. If you're waiting for a little bit of rain, it looks like it's going to come. We might just have to wait until maybe Friday or into the weekend Saturday. A better chance of it being an unsettled day. But ahead of that, some heat. Look at Thursday. We're going to be flirting with 30. Michelle and Nathan.
Thank you, Lindsay. That's it for us, but you can catch Heather Butts tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Zurada Allman with your next local newscast at 11:30.
Meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here at CTV News, thanks for watching and have a great night.